Hey everybody, welcome in this new episode of Juno Live. As always, I hope that you are feeling good and that you started well the week, and thanks for joining. So I'm just checking as always if the live stream has started on YouTube. It looks like I got some delay. Yeah, it started. So last week we continued to iterate on our swap ICP-to-Cycles, and we're gonna do the same today, but during the week, or actually Saturday, I did a bit of cleanup. So maybe we start by having a look at the small cleanup I did, like share one or two tricks, and then we go on with bookkeeping, right? Okie dokie. So before we jump in, just for remember, in that application cycle.watch, we have added that call to action where we can connect the wallet. Here it's just a demo wallet, right? And then we can transfer, or we ask for a swap of ICP to cycles, and I ask an approval, and then here I approve, and once it's approved, the front end register a document in the backend, and then we have a serverless function that do some stuff, and it's where we really want to transform those ICP to cycles, right? So sorry for that. If we have a look to where we stand in that particular case, is in the backend I did, it's not like sorry, pretty code, but I just wanted to split a bit the things we have implemented, and I stick to one function so that we can a bit follow what we are doing. But basically, when our serverless function kickstarts, we get some initial data like the payload and so on. Then we check for the balance of the caller, because it's possible that between when the action is done and when the function kicks off, there is maybe a delay, and maybe for some reason the balance isn't sufficient enough. And if we can assert that, we spare the fact that we try to do a transfer. Then here we actually transfer from the wallet to the satellites, because we want to use the cycles of the satellites for the swap. So that's what we do. And here is just a printout, and that the stuff that we have to do. So regarding the cleanup, what's interesting maybe is that I extracted some function, and then in those function I put all the code that we had before, but I tried to add like a bit less verbose things in that function. And last week we had an issue when we did the first try, because the amount that was requested in the front end was not enough for what we were trying to transfer in the backend. And the reason for that were the fee, because we want maybe I can reopen the drawings. We want the wallet to pay for the fee. We don't want the satellites to pay for it. So when we effectively gonna do the transfer here, we want that this wallet pays for the ICP we want to transfer and the fee. So what I had to do is, on the wallet side, on the front end, let me check. Yes, exactly. In the service where we do the approve and the request swap, I actually added like this bit of code where the token amount is the amount I enter here, right? And the approved amount that I gonna request is that amount plus the fee. So if we have a look how it looks like now, so here I got like 0.0.1. When I ask the approval, you see here I gonna have 0.0.1.0.1 because the last one here are the fee, right? So I ask that wallet to support the cost that we want plus the fees. But when I call the backend here, I still just pass the amount because in this construct, because we are using ICP, the fee are given. But what I did is I extended the document that we save, and in the document I added the fee. So potentially in the future I may pass the fee and then use the fee that are passed. But right now I just gonna do use a constant. So when I enter, or make it more easy, when I enter 1 here, okay, that's yes, because I need to reject first. So when I enter 1 here, I ask for 1.001, okay? And then when I save the document, I pass 1. So that in the serverless hook, there we go here. I forgot to zoom. Right. When we go to the backend, when we have the requested amount here, when we check, for example, for the wallet balance, we're gonna check if the balance is not, is that it's bigger or equals to the total, and the total gonna be that amount plus the fee. So here for the fee, I either take the fee that I told you I added as a parameter, or I default to 0, which is sounds wrong. And yeah, that sounds wrong. Here I should use here we're gonna need to use the default fee, and then I compare that. So do we have those fees here somewhere? No. That's a bit stupid. Okay, so let me check Juno. Do I have those fees somewhere? Let's take this. No. Just like that. So like this. Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. And then here, what's interesting is you may know that I don't do just I don't do that, right? I actually use a function to add the fee. And the reason behind is that using saturating add gonna gap the total, in the sense that I don't know if it applies for that particular case, but generally speaking, when you develop your serverless function, you should pay attention to any arithmetic function or any arithmetic adds or this kind of things that you are doing, because if it produces an exception, your code might go further, and actually you can kind of have like an overflow that you don't catch, and because you don't catch it, your code can continue, and maybe something bad gonna happen, in the sense that maybe an attacker gonna try to bump all the field up to produce exceptions so that the code continue as if it would have not been handled. So that's why for example, instead of just doing that, I use saturation add. That way I know that at least it's not gonna crash, and I mean, here I will have like a huge total and the balance would be smaller, so it would be handled and it would not go further. All right, I hope it was understandable. Right, and yeah, that's basically what we did. So another things that I did, really small stuff, is I will create a new Zoom page here. Yes. So I'm gonna build the serverless function, and we'll upgrade. Yes. And in the upgrade process, just that we win a bit of time, I added the keyword -ns here, which means no snapshot. Since I'm working locally, I don't need a snapshot. I will always deploy and so on and so on. And yeah, so just that you know that when you do an upgrade, you can also, if for some reason you have took a snapshot manually and don't want one to be taken, you can skip the snapshot. I think you also have the option in the UI. All right, great. So let me commit this, and here I think we do a transfer from, and here we just take the fee, otherwise not. Yes. So here I'm gonna okay. So now here we have done the transfer, right? So at this point we have here we took the ICP from the wallet and we put them on our satellite, and we see that in the output is like yes, you see the balance of the caller is 10, then we do the transfer, and then I see that my satellite's balance goes up. We can maybe even strengthen that by doing like let's put here this just for demo purpose. Quickly I'm gonna do just gonna do that quickly, right, to assert that it works. So if we go in the UI and we do things here, you see the balance of the satellites before was 2265 9 blah blah blah, and then we do the transfer, and then the balance of the satellites is 2275. So it means that indeed we are getting that ICP. So now we want to make the top up, but even though we can find this on the ledger, I think it's kind of interesting to be able to keep track of what we do on the server, so that if there is any problem with the cycles top up, we can find this and say, okay, here your refund. So what I propose that we do is here, instead of, or let's do that first. So we want to save this in a collection. So what we're gonna do is, I suggest that we create a new collection. For example, let's call it bookkeeping. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We will find another name, and we're gonna reserve that to controller. That way we know that the canister itself or the satellite itself is gonna do the work. Right. So yes. And what we want to save in that bookkeeping things, we want to that's a request. We have the status, and we're gonna have the key. So, and we're gonna want to find them. So what we can do is we just want to save a status too, but we're gonna call that bookkeeping. I'm not sure about it like this. Bah. And we also gonna have a status, so I'm gonna have, let's call it bookkeeping status, and here status, and yeah, so here, if the transfer fail, we don't have done anything, but we don't need to keep track. Yeah. So let's add an entry when we transferred the ICP. ICP transferred. Transfer from I don't have much ID today. Okay, so what we're gonna do is here, instead of this will fail, so if this succeed, we keep an eternal track of the transferred ICP. Okay, yeah. So what you're gonna do is, in the service, we create a function fn save. Now we're gonna do a new module. Let's call it bookkeeping, and here we're gonna create a function save ICP transferred. Okay. And yeah. Okay, and here we gonna pass what we can pass. We can pass the from account. No. What's interesting? It's probably just the ID right now. Let's keep it simple. So we're gonna use. We can extend that later, right? So and here what we're gonna do is, do I have already set doc store? No. So all right, so we want to save this. With the status ICP, no, what was it? Transfer from done. Okay. Great. Then, so that's like book. We want to save those data, so we're gonna need to encode those. So we're gonna do an encode data. Okay. And here, what we're gonna save, we're gonna say, okay, that's the satellites that solve that data in the collection that we just created, which is called bookkeeping, right? For the key and with the data. Like this. Okay. Ah, sorry. So we want the struct to put that, so that's gonna be data. Description, we're not gonna use that, and version, because that's gonna be the very first entry, we can set that to none, and we save this. And this, we're gonna do something like, okay. And then what we do in a process, we say, okay, we have done the transfer from, so at this point here, we save this context dot data dot key, and here with bubble here. Now that we have keep track, so now that we are keep track, we can do the effective cycle management top up. This way, when it comes back, if it succeeds, we can mark the entry at, all right, everything has worked out, or we can mark the entry as error. This way, if the person who have the wallet, whatever, has an issue, they can come and say, ah, this was my entry, and we can find the data and some information. So here, now, do top up. Okay? So, and to do that, it's like do top up with yeah, here it's a bit weird, but it's like with own satellite cycles to targeted canister. All right, so here we want to, where was I? Here. So we want to target this one, right? So one thing we can do, I think that would be easy, is because right now we don't have the information here. So what I suggest that we do for simplicity is that we what's it called again? In the wallet. Ah no, that was wallet service, sorry. So in the wallet, when we request the swap, we create a document here that is request data. So in the request, we have the swap information, the amount of the fee, we have the wallet owner. I think we can probably say target canister ID. That way we say what we want to target, and we also gonna register a principal. Because of this, the wallet service here will fail because we don't have this information, and we will come here to there. So yeah, we have to pass we have to pass down this information. So target canister ID principal. So here we say we want that here, super, and this I will have to bubble it a bit everywhere. So here, here we don't have it, right? We don't need it for the approve, but we want to have it to save this here. Okay, but then when I call the function here, I don't have this information right now, so we have to find where this is used. It's in the wallet, and where this is used, oh la la. So here we have the canister, super. So what's that? Yeah, of course it's a string, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So what we're gonna do is here we're gonna add canister target canister. I got like such a short-term memory. Okay, and then we need to do the same in the wallet. Which is kind of funny since we don't have any properties yet. Okay, so this go here, but this which we pass here, and here we're gonna do a let target. It's a derived of principal from principal. Come on. From text canister.id, and here we pass that this. Okay, so at this point I bubbled everywhere from this button all the way down to this ask approval, that canister ID. And now that we have it on the front end, we want to add it on the back end too. So if I go to my types, here we add so I will try to avoid typo, so I copy it, which is principal here. All right, and now when we are here, we can add a print. This is the target. And here we have let target canister ID, it's the data dot target canister dot value, because we seen last week why it's this way, right? Okay, great. So let's build. Upgrade. And here we refresh too. Right, and we do maybe not. All right, and if everything is fine, we should have here, yes, you see, this is not the balance of the satellites, and here we have, this is the target principal, blah blah blah, and I have, all right, I did not print it in text, but we're just gonna assume that it's correct, right? All right, so let me check this. Bookkeeping, I'm gonna come up with a better name. Bookkeeping collection and target canister ID, and as I was saying, what we want to do now is the top up. So we want to top up this, and I just forget something, is that no. So let's see how I do that in Juno. That way we can just copy paste code. Yeah, I mean, come on. So I guess somewhere I have like a top up something. Top up canister, and this is using the CMC, which is nice. And do I have other function to top up? Doesn't seem so. Alright, so to do a top up, I give a canister ID and an amount, which comes from IC ledger types, alright? And then I do a conversion for the send amounts. Then we get the CMC, which is like the canister management tool, right? So if we have a look here, the CSC and NNS cycle minting canister, you can do various things like giving you the list of subnets, giving you the conversion rate, which we are already using in the front end to display the conversion. Alright, you create a sub account for the targeted canister ID. Ah, nice. Ooh, that seems some stuff that I have here. Okay. So then we do a transfer. Ooh, that's gonna be fancy. And then you do the notify.pub. Is there another way? Ah, doesn't look like. So from what I see, we have to do actually two things. It's always interesting to live code. So yeah, it's where you realize that everything could have been done differently, but it's still nice to do it. To do that top up here, to the actually CMC, we need to so it's where we're gonna realize that it doesn't really make sense to make a transfer from, but it doesn't matter. It's fun to do it. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna take those here. Like this. Ah, yeah. Mon Dieu. Okay. Again. Right. Really? Yeah. All right. Let's do like that because otherwise it's gonna take ages. So what we want to do here is actually this gonna go here, and before that we want to, doesn't make sense, but we want to transfer ICP for the satellite, but you see here we actually do we provide, I think, a sub account. No? Yeah, you see, we convert the principal to sub account, and then here we give the sub account, and sub account is then used to create an identifier. So, and the sub account is created for that canister ID. So basically, and we give the CMC as target. So what we do is we do a transfer for the CMC. I'm not sure that's I don't know how to represent that, so let's do like that. So what we do is we do a transfer to the ledger for that address with the targeted canister, I think. Huh? Right, that's a bit funny. With the, yeah, exactly, with the targeted canister as sub account. So here that's the account, and in our equation we can even add like another line here, and that's gonna be the target canister, and we're gonna use this one here as a sub account. Okay, and of course we could have, like, instead of doing all this transfer from blah 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 and just done directly this on the first step, right? But even though we're not gonna do it, but with this pattern we have, by transferring here the ICP and then doing the work, here we would be, for example, able to take a small cut on the operation. So, but I guess it's not a business that we are growing, but that would be like the reasoning why we do all this back and forth, right? All right, so yeah, let's do 5 or 10 more minutes and we're gonna call it a wrap for today, but let's do that. So yeah, I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel, right? So I'm gonna take this. All right, so in our application, in services, we're gonna we want to do I make one? Do I need this afterwards? Then I got a block index. Because I got a block index. Oh, doesn't matter. So we're gonna do like here we have transfer ICP from wallet. And here we're gonna do transfer ICP to CMC. Okay? Yes. And here we have the target canister ID principal, and we're gonna have an amount, and in this particular scenario we will use the same amount. So minus the fee, I would say, but yeah, let's take the request amount here. So we take this one here. Okay, so okay, so we're gonna need some crates. So we're gonna need the ICP types. Because we have the ICRC, but we also gonna need the IC types. So here in the cargo toml we already have the ICRC and we add the IC types. All right, and then so what we were, the amount here, or is that, oh, already, okay, so this, all right, so here we get the amount. So tokens, do you see it? Here. Just gonna regenerate the types for the editor. Alright, so amount, it's already in A it is, and we gonna reduce the fee. So and here I will probably have to cap that, but like this, and we do create a constant for the fee, and here you see we want the same stuff as this here, so no, the fee are given here. Alright, so we have the send amount. What do we want? We want the CMC, so in the environment file I had the CMC, and here we're gonna have the CMC. Super. Great. We assume it's always defined. Well, it would be nice to, I guess, return an error. Where do I use the ledger ID somewhere? We can have the same. A bit of consistency is not too bad, right? Same CID, and here we're gonna have the CMC cannot convert CMC ID to principal, and then here we can, it's a bit cleaner. All right, and then here we want a sub account, so that's gonna be interesting. Where does that come from? Ooh, I ask myself where I found that piece of code. Nice. Okay. I mean, if it works, it works. Right, and here we're gonna do this, and that's our target canister. And then we want to make the payment. So here we are using ICP type, so I guess the ICCD key here, right? Yeah. So can I do it differently? I guess so. We should probably be able to do a transfer with ICRC, I guess. I mean, we just want to transfer to that owner and that sub account. But I have a sub account which is of type ICP. I don't have a sub account of type, or I love to. Why is it so complicated? We don't have a sub account. Is it the same time? Is under? Maybe it does. Yeah, let's try. So here we add ledger. We add an ICRC transfer from. So we're gonna do an ICRC one transfer, I think. So here we're gonna add ICRC transfer. Ledger ID. and that's gonna be 2 account, the amount, and here we're gonna have transfer, I guess. No? Ah, but I'm in account, I'm stupid. So transfer, I guess. Yes. And here I guess we have transfer args and transfer error. Super. So here we can have transfer error, and here we can use the arg. And we don't have this. We don't have that. And what's missing? Ah, what? Ah, from subaccount, yes. But we don't want to use from subaccount here because we use the... No. And here we're gonna do this. And it's an ICRC one transfer. And... the result is a block index. Okay. Perfect. So here as a result we will have the NAT with hopefully a NAT will be the block index. So then here we should be able, yeah, so something like that, except that we're gonna have ICRC transfer. Yes, ledger ID, I will pass it to account, amount and fee, and the result will be the block index. And fail to call ICRC transfer, fail to execute the transfer, result of the block index of the transfer is result. And here we want to bubble it because we're gonna need it, so we're gonna do NAT, and here we're gonna result. And so what do we need? We need the send amount is the amount, so we're not gonna need this, and we're gonna do that, I think. And here we will add that, and we need to pass the fee, but I will do that. So right now we're just gonna do pass fee, and here I will pass that, and the ledger ID I will add it to the call, and we need the account, so the account will be owner is the CMC, sub account is to sub account. Does that work? What's the error? Type mismatch. Alright, so U38, 32, and what do we get here? Because it was encapsulated, right? Okay, and then here I try to do that quickly. So here what we're gonna do next week, and just to wrap up, do call CMC notify top up, improve. We're gonna need keep track of those things. Improve bookkeeping with those operations, but meanwhile, let's just go bold and go like ledger ID, target canister ID. So ledger ID, target canister ID, and what amount? And here for now, I'm just gonna throw an error, okay? I don't know if it will build, I don't know if it will work, but let's see. That's a start, it built, right? Alright, so thanks for Cat Stafford. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, we yeah. Sorry to answer. I know I can transfer directly and so on, but the idea is to try to incorporate the fact that we are using the signer standard to interact with the wallet, and also the fact that we want to use some serverless function to transfer ICP and do a top up. It's kind of like a, I don't know if it's more like a really practical or practical slash example slash it should work at the end, kind of. And that's why we do all the steps. So where was I? Yeah. Sign in again, right? All right, so nice. So we got the request, we got the principal, and see the block index of the transfer is not. So this worked out, which is nice, and yeah, it's really nice. So we see that we have this this stack trace here somewhere. Yeah, you see, this worked out. And then we're gonna return the block index, and thanks to this block index, next week we will be able to do the last step, which is you have the block index and then you call the top up. All right, and if we have a look at why we were doing that, so just to summarize, so what we do is like we interact with the signer standard to ask a request for the wallet, and because we are a bit crazy, instead of doing directly the transfer, we get what was approved for the wallet from the ledger to our satellites. For example, here we transfer 1 ICP, and then we want to make a top up, for example, for 0.9 ICP, because we want to keep 0.1 as a service fee or something like that. It wasn't exactly like the original idea, but I mean, we iterate and we find a creative way to use the tech, no? All right, so if you have any question, you can ping me anytime. Thanks for having joined the call. At the end of the process, I will add the charts to the repo, make me scenes, and yeah, reach out if you have any question anytime, and so on and so on. And I wish you a really nice week. Bye bye.